Hello, I am the Art Sherpa, and I have the power of foresight, the mystical power, and I predict that in about an hour, you can channel the spirit of Van Gogh and do this painting. And while you are at it, you have been invited to a very special party, a Halloween hop by the Art Junkie. And if you go to the iCard or to the description, you will find out that there is a game and a prize. The secret order I'm going to read to you right now is Art Junkie, then Enjoy Scrapping, and then Ann Williamson, Serena B, myself, Christina of Crafty Paws, Becky at Aunt B's Creations, Meridel at the Mary Atelier, and of course at Peggy at JPeggy2. Where would you find this list? In the description, because we all want a prize. So grab your paint, grab your brushes, and come back. Meet me at the easel really soon. Okay. Welcome to the studio. Are you ready to begin your oory spooky Halloween hop? Art Journey's Sugar Skull. No, I'm not going to talk like this the whole time. Just the intro and this. So you guys excited? I'm excited to have you here. You have either intentionally or stumbled upon an amazing thing. You're in the middle of a Halloween hop. Are you ready to hop? The Art Junkie put this together. There is a list in the description, and boom, as soon as everybody's got their stuff up, there'll be a playlist in the art card that will also work on your mobile device. And there's a hidden letter. Today's episode is brought to you by the letter H. So that's your clue for my video, is the letter H. Now, if you would like to hop around and check out these other great creators, you're going to get secret letters from each of their videos. And you take those to, I think it's the Art Junkie, and she's got some instructions on her video on how to enter a contest. She's got a prize. So on top of predicting that you guys will get a great painting, I'd like to predict that at least one of you will get a really cool prize that's put together and have some fun playing an art game. The materials today, is this just distracting as all get out? The materials today are a just general 16 by 20 canvas. I get these at Michael's in a 5-pack. I'm not buying a special canvas. They're inexpensive, and yes, sometimes they give you grief because who knows what's going on with the coatings. Something to sketch in the sugar skull with, and of course Chuck's putting together a traceable, but you know, if you'd like to draw it in to work on those drawing skills, I like to use these watercolor pencils. Uber cheap. Also, great. The old bucket of kids chalk. Colored chalk also works. We need water in a cup. Some assorted acrylic art brushes. These are Creative Mark. I wanted to show you these. You can get packages. You can get kits, right? Like this from, and this is not a sponsored video, this is just where I bought it from, is Jerry's Artorama, right? They have these little kits of the Ebony Splendors. This is what it looks like. And you can get some sets, and they run sales all the time. So it makes these very inexpensive, and then I don't have to have a complete heart attack if I leave one in the water and pop all the coating off, which happens a lot. Paint. You'll need some of that. Helps complete a painting, right? You know, in the process of painting a painting, it's nice to have some paint to paint the painting. Here it is. I'm going to go to my palette. All right. So we've got Phthalo blue, Cadmium Red medium, yellow ochre, also known as oxide, Cadmium Yellow medium, burnt sienna. I've got black, and in this particular instance, I've got a craft paint black. Right? This is a craft paint, 89 cents. And then I've also got some fluid white, but you could get craft white. What you want is a softer body paint to make sure we can do some of the dots and stuff. So, and this titanium white, which is the regular heavy body that I'm painting it in with. So that is the palette. Those are the special materials. Also, I'm sporting my Sugar Skull cup that I found on the end cup with from the Crafty Chica, and I just got excited about that because she's a member in the Creative Arts collaboration. So I was like, oh, I kind of YouTube know her. Like I could message and she might message back, but not like really. But I just thought it was cool, and it's also this is a really cute cup. Ooh, yummy. So I'm drinking coffee. So I had the energy for you guys today. I got a little rag here. And obviously some crazy makeup. So let's draw this in first. And then, actually we could put our wishes in first. And then, no, draw it in. Because you want to know where your stuff is. It's like, I don't know where I'm done. Draw it in first. So a skull, and we've got this going off the canvas. And I kind of pre-sketched this in so I could spend more time explaining it than doing it. And hopefully, I'll get some instruction when I move the camera down. We're only going to do half. And the reason we're only going to do half is I noticed you guys have a better, easier time doing faces when you don't have to contend with both sides with the mirror. And at the end of the day, it's about having a great painting that you can hang on your wall. We'll work on some two-sided faces soon. But right now, let's just go for success. I've got a pink. That's not an appropriate color. I'm going to do a dark color. I'm going to do a blue. So I want you to come down from, about a ½ inch from the top. And you're going to come out curving around. I'm going to take this line out because this is deciding the shape and size of my skull. To its widest point is almost 6½ inches. It's arcing out, it's kind of curving out. And then at the greater curve, I'm going to start to go in. Woo! This is the temple. The temple always curves in. And then I'm going to come out, rounding out to do the cheekbone. See that nice cheekbone I'm creating? It's a wonderful cheekbone. Not at the apex, about 1 inch down from the apex of the curve, I'm going to start the jawline. I'm going to come down a few inches, and then I'm going to just start a little journey in. I'm going to give this skull some great jawline here. So that is how easy it is to do a skull. At the temple, it tells me where I'd like to put my eye socket, and I like to make an egg shape. Okay? Then I'm going to come diagonally down from the temple, right? I'm going to make the nose, which is a half heart. And then about halfway between the nose and the chin, I'm going to put up a smile. This will be important when I put in my teeth and my kind of sugar skull face. I sort of based this off the painting. I hope you're enjoying it. It's very Halloween-y. I am certainly enjoying it. And then for my sunflower, I'm going to just do a half circle coming off from about the midway point in the jaw. And you guys that have done the Van Gogh sunflowers, you're like, oh, I know how to do this. We're going to do the sky. We're going to use slightly different colors. I didn't want to have to make you guys use the alizarin crimson. We will in some future more advanced episodes get some more color palette going, but I want to keep as much beginner content as I can on the channel while we're adding more advanced content, just because the more we have of it, the more people who get to do and enjoy painting. Are you enjoying painting right now? I'm going to get my brush wet. And you know what? Before I move on to painting, I'd like to send out some Halloween wishes. Yes, I would. Some fantastic Halloween wishes. So right now, I would like to wish for some kind of Halloween themed things. So I would like to wish that, well, first I'd like to wish that the host of this hop has a very successful hop. So I'm going to send out a wish for Shannon, that she has a great time and has a successful hop that she feels really good about. Because that was a lot of work to do. I do a lot of collaboration stuff, and I know that that's a ton of work, and I really appreciate it. I'd also like to wish, let me see, I've got a bunch of stuff coming in. Oh, I have a wish out there for a member who's going back in for a test, and I'd like to wish a negative result on that test. Usually don't go for negativity. And then I'd weirdly like to send out a wish to a fellow YouTuber that I don't know particularly well, but I met at VidCon and I think is a tremendous artist and a great person. And his account recently just got hacked and he's coming back on YouTube, Will Terrell. I'm going to wish him a lot of luck and abundance on his new Scooby-Doo project. And his wife Amber is expecting, so I'm going to wish them just the happiest, easiest pregnancy ever in the universe. You know, I think it's really cool. I love Scooby-Doo. And it really freaked me out hearing that that account got hacked. I was like so glad that I have as much security in mine as I do. And, ooh, I wish for all the little brushes, do you hear me, little brushes out there? The most epic, endless candy haul you've ever gotten. Because at the end of the day, it's the only way your mom's gonna get candy. So, and one more wish for somebody I know that's feeling really sick and is just watching and not painting with us. I'm wishing that she returns to health. So remember on these wishes, guys, they can be serious things that you're really hoping for in your life, or they can be light-hearted things. The point is just that, you know, art should hopefully increase our optimism, increase our openness to positivity coming into our lives, which can be really hard to maintain in today's world. And I just want you guys to be able to feel worthy of your dreams. It's a good practice to do. A lot of artists do it. A lot of artists would wish on here that their painting sold. That's a thing a lot of artists I know do. I'm going to get a little Cad Red out, just a small amount. Just a small amount. I'm going to bring it over to my blue. And this is how I'm going to darken my blue today. Because there's an orange tint to the Cad Red, when you take it to the Phthalo blue, it deepens it and takes down some of the tonal value of it. And that's because orange is a contrast to blue on the color wheel. And I really love the color wheel. We're going to have to start introducing the color wheel to some of our stuff. I have a really fun color wheel that I got from my mother. I have a really fun color wheel that I got from my mother that I will have to share with you soon. It's an upcoming project. So many cool upcoming projects. You guys excited about doing this today? I was so excited to be able to give you guys a sugar skull for Dias de los Muertos. Probably saying that totally wrong. Right? So excited about it. And it was really fun to do this sort of all the heart party paintings in one painting. I've been working really hard on the game design of my app because I want my app to have some game components, some play components, you know, so it's not just you getting push notifications from me. That would be ridiculous. You can go to your social media and get those. This is going to be so that you can get to the content easier, so that you can connect with other members of your artist community easier and have some fun sharing your love of art out there. And also to do some games, to do some play. Definitely want to have that where, you know, we encourage some play in our artist community. Because it's important to remember that art, for most of us, even if we're quite talented, is fun art, not fine art. Now, I'm noticing that on today's canvas, I'm going to zoom in on this down here. Really zoom in. That's the wrong direction. And that's also the wrong direction. There you go. Do you see how there's this bubbling over the canvas? right? If you're having that happen to you, that is about the coating more than anything else. So there's no regulatory system that oversees coatings of these very economical 16 by 20 canvases that are just struggling to meet the demands of this new sort of art renaissance that's going on. So I feel like maybe the formulas are not always stable or something's happening, because sometimes I find that my gesso is fighting back. And if you're having a lot of trouble with that and it's making you unhappy and you have the budget for it, you can just go buy some gesso, even the really cheap gesso, from your local craft store and do a coat before you paint, and it will correct for whatever. I'm just going to fight through it because I'm being lazy. You know, own it when it's that, when it's that, own it. When you're just being lazy, be like, yeah, I'm just being lazy. I am just being lazy. I know I can force this canvas to take the paint, because you can pretty much force anything to take acrylic paint. I was painting yesterday with my kids and we were painting feathers. Something I really want to do on the show. I want to show you how I can paint some feathers, and you could paint some feathers. I think that's more exciting. It's not really that exciting when I can do a watercolor or I can do an acrylic painting. I've been doing it for decades, and I have a lot of proof and evidence that chances are 9 out of 10 times, and by the way, it's like that, 9 out of 10 times, I'm going to get a good painting. Every once in a while, though, I just tank, and I'm looking at it going, well, that needs a coat of gesso and a rethink. Happens to everybody. And, you know, actually, I was just talking to Angela Anderson, voice. We actually finally got to chat by voice, and we were talking about how a lot of what we do on our channels is just try to keep you guys just in long enough through the difficult stage of the painting. Paintings have an ugly duckling phase, all of them. All of them have a really ugly duckling stage. I think sometimes the speed paints hide that because you go through it so quickly, and then you're at the magical ending where it all ties together. But when you're really in it in real time, like we are, like you and I are, there's a stage where you really question why you even started a project. Where you're looking at it and going, you are not pretty, and I am not loving it. And I have a lot of experience. Angela has a lot of experience where it's just like, guys, just hang in. If you'll just hang in with me, I can get you through, you know. And to me, that's pretty exciting. She and I are talking about doing something together for you guys. I think we have some pretty nifty ideas percolating, hoping that that will get to come together and gel, because I really love her artwork. And I also love that she creates content that you guys can do. I've been also having, and you know what, the other person that I talked to about this with too was Lindsay over at the Frugal Crafter, and Clyde and my mom Ginger. I think it would be really great to have a whole bunch of artists together in a symposium to just validate all paintings be having an ugly stage. Because I swear it's a conversation I have with every other artist that I know that's out there, you know, trying to share the love and gift of art with you guys, is that, you know, in art, in painting, there's an ugly stage. There's not really an ugly stage in, say, beading, right? I guess she thought that was exciting. My daughter is watching Ice Age, and she gets really immersed. So if you hear a little squeal, it's not the serious mom come running squeal, because I would just leave and we would just edit. It's the, oh no, that saber-tooth tiger is up to something bad. What will happen to the baby squeal? So see how this is in now, and I'm going to show you on the up-close cam. This is about, you know, it's not about uniformity. There's some different tonality. I'll even bring it up to this camera where you can really see, guys, this is really streaky. And that's with pro paint, right? There's a whole bunch. If I want to just really a smooth, uniform, flat field of color here, right? Well, I'd want to do a paint that I didn't have to thin. I'd want to do it on a surface that I primed. And I know for the end result of the paint, this sort of multi-tonal painterly texture actually adds to the finish. Can you take me seriously when I'm in this makeup? Can you take me seriously when I'm in this makeup? But it adds to the finished product. And a lot of this is with you and me is that I just know we're gonna be okay. That's just really what it is. I just know we're fine. I just need you to believe me when I say, hey guys, we're okay. It's all good. I mean, I'm not doing makeup tutorials. Like, if I was doing makeup tutorials and you were like, I'm not really sure you know what you're doing on a makeup tutorial. I mean, it's an okay sugar skull, but it's not like Made You Looks. Well, she's so good, isn't she? I'm really enjoying just existing in this world, in this community. It's starting to feel like the fine art world where we have galleries and, you know, other artists, and you have that connection creatively. I'm just going to fill in my eye socket and my nose socket, and I'm going to do a little outline with some black. I'm going to put it back in maybe. Actually, I might wait till after I put in the yellow ochre for the outline. But I do want to paint in my socket while I'm at it. Now, here's the issue with some cheaper paints, okay? Like a craft paint. Like, why, if you're going to varnish, if this painting is a real big deal for you and you want to keep it forever, you might want to use a golden soft-bodied paint, a golden fluid, like this one in white and black, because it won't lift during the varnish. A lot of varnish, brush-on varnish, will lift economic or craft paints. And if you used economic or craft paints, guess what will work if you spray varnish? I can't do spray varnish because I won't stop breathing and, you know, fall over. It scares the kids and the husband so much. I'm nearly dying. They don't like it. But, you know, you might be just fine, and that would be another solution. You wouldn't have to upgrade the paint. And you just have to look at your budget, your result, and the experience that you want to have. And, you know, celebrate that. And I'm going to just, so I don't lose it, put this in here. Because I don't want to lose my little line here. And another thing I can paint in while I'm at it is if I take this black over to my burnt sienna, I'm going to get a deep chocolate brown. Now I could have done burnt umber. I could have bought a whole second tube of paint. But it's just not really important for what I'm doing here. I'm painting with a half inch bright because I grabbed it. Sometimes when I'm painting, I have a whole deep, intense plan, and sometimes I'm like, oh, that brush looks good to me, and I just pick it up. You know, there are parts of painting that are like baking. They're sciencey, and there's real specific reasons why things work a certain way. There's a real science reason why I don't pull some of these colors against ultramarine for the type of paintings that we're trying to do. But then there's this sort of cooking side of painting, which is like, I just like this brush today, and I'm going to pick it up because I just feel good about it. Right? And how are you guys doing in your studios? Right? Are you sharing your art and making your art? Are you sharing your art with me? I hope you are. Listen, guys, even if I'm behind on my social media, because I'm now getting to a place where it can be hard to get a response out every time or get caught up. But I spend time every week. I have time put aside to read messages, to look at art. I try to at least like it, or right now I read everything that comes in, you know. And if you think I'm not reading it, you know, you can try me on a couple social media things. But I am trying to, and guess what though? I'm still enjoying it. I love genuinely seeing your artwork. It is incredible to share your art journey with you. I feel so lucky and so appreciative that you guys share artwork with me and tell me your stories. It makes a difference. If one of you wins the Art Junkies prize, if you're a artist and you weren't aware of the Art Junkie and you discovered her newly, and you win her prize, you gotta let me know. You gotta post a picture, because that's pretty exciting. It was a decent prize. I was like, I'm not eligible for a prize. No prize. None of the artists, none of the participants are eligible for prize. I like these hops because they do help you run into some other artists. And I really like it if they have a theme and they have a purpose, some reason for you to journey around and see what they're doing. So I really appreciate that she put the time in to add some extra thought to this. It's really nice. Just love sharing this with everybody. Love seeing what you guys are up to. Just love it. It's as simple as that. I'm trying to remember not to mix my paint in my coffee. You know, a good place to always save money on cadmium paint is hue. I say that in a lot of my things. I forgot to say this at the beginning, but I always try to put it in parentheses. And the difference is that real cadmium is a very expensive pigment, and the hue is not as expensive, and also does not have health or environmental risks, which some people feel it does. I'm not sure on that issue, but it's a great way. It's a great place for you to respect your pocketbook. I took some yellow ochre right there. I've got a 1-inch filbert, right? And I'm going to do this white skull, interestingly enough, in this sort of off-white parchment color. Because I find sometimes when you're trying to make something be painterly and be white, starting with a darker value and then dry brushing the lighter tone over it is a very nice effect. It's those kinds of little touches that give you guys the great results that I'm so excited to see on all your social media sites, where your friends are like, oh my God, you should totally quit your job as a nurse and just paint. That's always like so funny. It's like sometimes the amazing jobs people are in that their friends will like encourage them to quit now that they've discovered that there's art talent. There's this sort of like implied vow of poverty that artists are supposed to take the minute they discover they have talent. No. Quit what you're doing that's successful and just like go do art. No, not necessarily true. You can be really good at art, guys, and have it just be a hobby. That is completely allowed. I have known some amazing, talented, extraordinary painters who just develop so many skills, and you know, they like to keep that space, that creative space, just for them. They didn't want to turn it into a business. It's okay to turn it into a business. It is okay to make money at art. There's nothing wrong with that. You know what else? It's okay just to have a hobby that makes you happy. Oh, and that's the other one. Guess what else is okay? You don't have to be the best painter in the world to paint for hobby. That's the other kind of attitude that I see out there. Like, that to have this is something you enjoy, you better be so good at it. Which obviously takes work and years and dedication and skills that are developed over time. But there is this sort of attitude, especially among one's family, like, well, what are you doing? You could take up golf and be terrible. Like a terrible golfer. And everyone would be like, look, just get out there, just practice, just whack the ball. You know, it'll be fine, you'll get better. Nobody will come at you sideways over your initial golf game. Like, the first day, if you've never played golf and you go out there and you play some golf, and maybe you don't have a lot of golf skills. Maybe the ball will be going nowhere. Maybe you're just digging a little hole in the grass. You know, racking up like some golf course fees for damaging their really expensive good grass, right? But nobody's going to tell you, you know, this golf thing is not for you. They're just going to be like, work harder and be dedicated and focused. But if you post, sometimes when you put out a painting, if it's like at the beginning of your journey and you're kind of working out some of these skills and you're like, I really like this as an activity, but maybe you don't have every skill just yet today. Right? Maybe you didn't just come out of the package ready to paint today. Then people will be like, I don't know, really? Do you think you should do that? This isn't like, you know, singing has some like physical anatomy that you've got to work with and stuff. This is just skills. This is skills and life story and those things which you're born with, and I mean that you're born capable of developing and That's my soapbox. Come on. I'm just on it. With my funny skull makeup today on my soapbox. Are you guys liking this painting? Comment. Tell me. YouTube, when you guys comment, YouTube sees the comment and its little system goes, oh, people like this. And then it gives it like a better ranking. It's a weird deal on the search engine. So it actually really helps me when you thumb up, when you share, and when you comment and subscribe. It makes a big difference in my YouTube verse as I am learning, as I am becoming more and more aware. So I'm mixing, and I might add a little yellow ochre to it because it feels just a little bright. The yellow, the white, and the ochre. And the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to come up here, and I'll move my close-up cam so you guys can really see it. Listen guys, this is just the letter C, okay? You know, I know our secret letter right now is H. But this is just the letter C. It does not need to be perfect. This isn't like a handwriting test. You guys get a little wound up on your moons. Just look at that. It's just a hot mess. It's a letter C. It's not a big deal. So that's what we've got. Now I'm going to get a little more of this. And I'm going to come around my sky. And I'm going to make some, wait, you know what I've covered up? I've covered up my example painting. So I always do these designs of it. I'm going to make a little dot here. Not a particularly perfect dot. And I'm going to make a little dot here. I'm going to make a little dot here. Right? Just some little dots. It's not a big deal. It's all good. Right? And then I just did that with like a square, but you could have done that with a detail or any brush. It just doesn't matter at this stage. Crazy thing I'm going to do next is I'm going to get this 1/4 inch bright. 1/4 inch bright. John is secretly, shh, but quietly here in the control booth doing things, but he's not talking. He feels more comfortable to talk when you guys are here, and much less when he is not as comfortable looking at the imaginary people in the room. So, just doesn't love it as much is all I'm saying. So I'm going to do this at first with, I think, this nice hat of this 1/4 inch, and I'm going to just add a little white over to my blue, creating a slightly lighter color as my daughter cheers the adventures of Manny in the background. And I'm going to just, using this brush, make neat little ordered dashes around the sky. Now, there are a lot of ways you can put in your dashes, guys. I'm going to come over here. Oh, I got a nice one on the moon. I'm going to come around my moon. I like to, when I'm doing a Van Gogh style sky, I like to go around my objects to create the pattern. I like to think of it like pebbles being dropped in water. But it turns out there might be some scientifically awesome reason why Van Gogh do this that makes him even more of a genius than anybody could have ever understood. And that's a very cool Google thing to search if you feel like searching Google about that kind of thing. If you felt like it. And you might not, but you might. So I just go around these objects first, trying to create these little dashes, and the dashes go in circles, and you know, hey, however you paint them in, people will get it. People are savvy. People will understand what you meant, right? And in the end, you're only making you happy, right? I mean, let me tell you what is challenging in art. If you try to make other people happy in art, that's the formula for making you miserable in art. And you probably actually, I don't even know you, but I might, because I'm close to a lot of members of my artist community. But I am sure a bunch of you spend too much time pleasing other people in your life as it is. I'm not going to get too close, you know, in here too particular because I know I'm going to be putting those little white petals in that we paint in later. But I'm going to start putting in this pattern that might be peeking out with the petals. Put it in, you know, this object creating resonance in the world. And try to think of it like that. It's creating resonance. I also hope the skull gets you thinking creatively, like the way that you can, and a couple of you have done this, the way that you can mash up paintings and ideas and concepts and build on them and add your own spin. That's an important art thing that must happen in your journey. So I get very excited when I see you guys naturally kind of organically discover that. You know, but the way that you can mash things up and tell the story your way, very cool. Like right off the bat, you could probably do my snowman with a Van Gogh sky. You can have a whole collection. Maybe I'll do that for Christmas. Maybe I'll revisit snowman with a Van Gogh sky. Just keep the Van Gogh theme coming, just for fun. While we're all enjoying it, if that makes sense, just for fun. Just pushing this out here, it's just fun, these little dashes. Creating this little pattern, it just starts to come in, doesn't it? Here comes the pattern, we like it. We do, we like it. Yeah, I take the pattern all the way over here because that it counts, right? If you're painting around the edges, you would take that pattern around the edges, wouldn't you? Good. I like pre-recorded in just that it's just even easier for you guys to just fast forward or pause me. But I really miss the lives because I just love visiting with you guys. And also, I enjoy John's insights into things as well. He cracks me up. But this one, we're doing ahead of time so we can make sure that we're uploaded exactly at the time. Good party guest, right? You get invited to a party, you want to be a nice guest. Respect the hostess. Do your best. It's an important thing. It is an important thing. So look at that, that just went in. And guess what the next step is? An even lighter color. I'm gonna come over here with my blue and just get my white. Make a very light blue. I'm gonna come around my stars. This is my favorite part. But we can even do it up close on this. And see this, even real close. Just my favorite part. Just putting in that extra little spiraling energy that comes out. I love this guy. It is the most fun to do. I can see why he did so much of it, because it's just a joy. It just feels so good, right? It just feels amazing. And I will move my up-close cam over my moon. You can kind of see this go in. Because I know sometimes you guys, when you get to space, you're like, you get a little wound up tight. You know, and you get a little wound up like, you've got to do it exactly like I'm doing it. And in that, generally, you should follow instructions because it will help you get the result. You should do what I'm doing, but not exactly what I'm doing. You still have to happen in the painting. You still have to exist in this space. Otherwise, we're missing a whole bunch of points why we paint in the first place. That's not happening. And it's just important for you to find some of your own way through an idea. Very important for you to find your own way, to find yourself in a painting. And I mean that in both ways. You find yourself in a painting. When you're creative, when you take on a creative process lifestyle, you don't just find these creative skills, you find you. You go all Carly Simon up in here. 13-year-olds are like, I don't know what this lady's talking about. Find myself. I just want to do this painting. But that's the truth. You're going to figure out who you are. And that's what art is for, is to help you find you. You don't need to find me. I already found me. I have a real happy practice in my art. I like how I get paint on the canvas. I have a lot of skills. I can bring them up. You know, when I get into groups that want something that's highly rendered, I can highly render out realism. The cows come home, and I can do abstract, and I can do a lot of stuff, and I have my own painting voice and style that I've established that I really like. So I'm good. But you guys, you're working on your process, right? You're working on your journey. This is about you. How are you in this? That's the important thing. Now, for fun, take a little yellow out and a little white. And you want it just like a ducky color. Ducky. I'm going to come around here and add, oops, let me move on up. I might define my star a little bit more, and I'm going to add just a little bit of that. All right. Come around the moon and add just a little bit of that. Maybe I like to do more of a cradle around the moon. That's a feeling I have. I am not trying to give you a historically accurate rendition. We're not trying to forge Vincent's sky. That is not what we're trying to do. And that's not what this is at all. We are trying to find ourselves in the cradle of Vincent's technique. Totally different deal. One of them will help you in your life. Right. Now, I'm gonna rinse. And I like to, because orange and blue are contrast, I like to have a little orange always in my sky. So I usually pull out a little Cad Red, and I get a nice bright orange mixed. If you have student paints, you may want to add a little white to it to help it deal with coverage. I'm going to add a little of this orange to my moon. Just a little bit. I'm not being all crazy about it. I'm just adding a little. Fun for me. Add a little bit of that color right there. And then I'm going to add a little bit of it in the sky. I've seen people do lavender. I've seen people do pink. Also beautiful. Finding themselves in the sky. It's what they're doing. It's what you're doing. Finding yourself in the sky. It's just fantastic. Special. I love Halloween episodes, by the way, you guys. I love getting to do all this goofiness. I love getting to be in kind of a Halloween costume. Sharing this art with you and celebrating the holiday. And, you know, maybe you're in a country that is not, like, big on the Halloween, which is probably good for your health, because, you know, the whole excessive candy thing. But you can still enjoy the sugar skull. And you can still have a good, mighty laugh at my face makeup. So I feel like we're probably all okay. We're probably all doing alright. Do you guys love that? Is that just really nice and easy? Now, I'm going to find one of my 1/2-inch brushes that I'm really fond of. You know how I love my 1/2-inch angle brush. I love it. I'm going to load some water on it and pull out a little white with some water. I'm improving the fluidity. I'm generally going for almost like a thick olive oil consistency. And I'm going to just paint in white the places that I want my petals to be. My petals are going to be thicker at the bottom, thinner at the tip. Sometimes they're going to curve back against each other. I really like, we've talked about this before, these sort of Whole Foods, crazy, boutique-y sunflowers. I think they're really fun with the multicolors, and I suppose they're sourced well. Something I want to show you. Something I want to show you on these petals. I'm not that worried about covering every bit of the blue paint underneath. Don't freak yourself out about it. Don't do it. It's not important. What you're doing is creating just a lighter feel, because yellow, even on a pro paint, tends to be translucent, tends not to have coverage, tends to just give the painter grief. So in the interest of not painting around and trying to make dashes between the spots we think the sunflowers are, I just paint them in white. It's just an easier thing to do. Just easier. That's all it is it just creates some ease, and sometimes ease is very valuable. Right? Sometimes just having a little ease makes all the difference in the world. You know, hopefully you've gotten to do Van Gogh sunflowers on a previous lesson. I hope you have. Or Starry Night. You know, I have Starry Night on the channel as well. With the TARDIS, if you'd like to add the TARDIS, because that's, I'm thoughtful like that. See how I curve some of these back? I curve some back. That's what I do, and I'm just taking these around. It's not that demanding of a thing to do artistically, and you should be able to find it pretty easily in here. If ever you find a skill or an activity in painting challenging, don't stress about it. Back to that golf thing. If you found a particular part of your golf game stressful, you just hire a golf pro. You just keep practicing. You would begin that assuming, since so many people play golf, that you too could probably play some golf with a little help. But sometimes we start paintings assuming we can't. And if you assume you can't on something before you even start, chances are you probably cannot. It's really hard to overcome can't. I find that's a lot of what I'm doing in workshops and in lessons like this, is helping people overcome their can't. Which is powerful. How many can'ts do we lay on our lives? So I like that. I'm happy with that. I feel that's very sunflowery. I'm going to zoom out a little bit. Woo, that's the wrong way. And we're going to put our little dots in here. I'm going to use the same size brush that I used there. And I'm going to get some just burnt sienna. All right. Get some just burnt sienna. And I'm going to make just dashes, just dots, trugging along, happily just making some dots. We're now back to painting as layers, especially acrylic painting. This is not how you would do this painting in watercolor. Maybe sometime on Periscope I would show how I would do one of the Starry Night sunflowers in watercolor. Totally different process. Completely different technique to accomplish it in watercolor. It would be different in pencil. It would be different in oil. The mediums are not interchangeable. The difference between oils and acrylics is not drying time. If it was just drying time, it'd be much easier to transition between them. Much easier. Okay, guys, so just know, you know, that there is a bigger hat trick going back and forth between mediums than just how fast is something dry and how thick is the pigment. I mean, the pigments can be different, the way they interact or layer can be different, the order of operations that you paint them in can be different. You know? Look at that. Ooh. Ooh. I'm loving it. Alright. So the next paint that you can grab, once you brush out, I'm not even going to wait for this to be dry. Guess what? I'm going to just get some yellow ochre. And I'm going to come and I'm going to add some yellow ochre. That's how easy that is. Dashes almost feel like a seed pod, don't they? Super easy, super effective. How fun and easy is this? How fun and easy. Hope you're doing this with friends. Hope you're doing this with family. Maybe you're doing this over Skype with family across great distances. Hope you are. Hope you guys are reaching out and connecting through creativity. Nothing like it. Nothing like it. I'm going to make the dots a little heavier here towards the center because I feel like it. And there we go. Look at that. It just popped in. Couldn't have been easier. Couldn't have been more fun. Now I'm going to get another 1-inch Filbert. You could do a bright. You could do whatever your favorite brush is. I'm going to get some just white paint on a dry brush. Okay. And I am going to just dry brush in the bone white of this skull with the white paint. Can you see that coming in really easily? Sometimes I like to look back and see if your up-close cam is catching what I'm trying to convey, what I'm trying to share with you. I love doing these long format, full process videos. I think that it's really great to have accessible art, edutainment, maybe it might actually be education that we just make entertaining. That you guys can just do, that you can do if you're, I have so many people who are 10 and 11. Shout out to Amanda and Amelia. Those are my A's. And of course, as always, Wyatt. We have a lot of little brushes painting with us, and that's fantastic. And also, Lily Vladenka, who is painting far away from me. And I think that is so cool. She shared a bunch of really great horses with me, so I just want to give her a shout out. I love when little brushes paint with me. Little brushes have giant hearts and big talent, and it's really cool to see your work and see how grown up and amazing and skilled your work is. And I'm always happy to see it. So I just want to give those shout outs. So hopefully they get to see their own shout outs. I'm just going to keep putting this dry brushed, and maybe I'm going to try to zoom in so you can really see it. That's the wrong direction again. Not in charge of the Starship Enterprise, that's for sure. See, I'm just even scrumbling there. I'm just letting that dry brush create this, what if you guys watch all the time is John's favorite word, painterly. I think he just enjoys that there's kind of a rebranding to explain being a hot mess. It amuses him to no end. Because they don't really have that sort of forgiving nature in when you're remodeling a car, say. Not as chill. Let's come down here. And you can see that we're knocking it back. Look. You can have thicker paint in some areas and dry brushed in others, and you can layer this multi-times, but it will make a difference to the overall finished look of your piece. So, pretty excited about that. Pretty darn thrilled about it. To be honest, I am. Loving. And this isn't even, you know, I was real worried today that this would burn my face, the makeup, because sometimes I have a reaction to makeup. Since I had kids, I'm now like allergic to things I was never allergic to before. And so, you know, let's see, we need to move that up and zoom that back out. That's the right way. Okay. So you're just kind of seeing how that white, that bright white, is popping over that parchment color. And that gives us the feeling of an aged set of bones, which is kind of nice. And you might think we'd do the dry brushing right now of the blue, which we can do some of it. But I like to do it around the black lines we're about to put in. So we'll let that dry up and we'll get our 1/2" angle brush back out again. Like you do. 1/2" angle brush. And I might need to mist my paint because my paint is under very hot lights and it can dry out. And so sometimes I'll have to do that. I'm going to get some just yellow and a little white and a scotch, a smidge, a small amount of red. And I'm going to, and I'll try to, yeah, I can see that there. Get the up close cam on that there. We're going to just, in a very streaky, painterly, John's favorite word way, paint in this petal. Now, because this is a sugar skull, we may come back and outline each of these petals and make them very, very neat and tidy. But for the purposes of what we're doing right now, we don't really need to. I'm making some orange here because I want some of these to be orange. Right, so that's what we're doing. We're just painting those in with different colors that they can be. I don't rinse my brush out because I want lots of different tonalities. Get some just red. Sometimes I rub the excess paint off. If it's getting up into the heel, you can rub it down and reload it back to the tip. You'll probably see me doing that all the time. It's one of the reasons why we like to have a palette cam going, just in case I forget to mention those little weird things that I might do as an artist. You get to see it. And I think that's exciting. So, because this is like time travel, it's so weird, like things will be going on in my life in different orders. Like sometimes big events will happen after I painted a painting that I might have announced. Because I film them, you know, sometimes in the can. And if ever, like, you're like, wow, she's not even talking about that big thing that happened or what's going on. That's all that's ever going on, is that I film things. And if I film them ahead, they might not exist in my little Time Lord universe yet. For those of us that live on Gallifrey. Which you could add a Doctor Who TARDIS right there, by the way, if you felt like it. If you so felt like that was necessary, I would understand. And actually, I think that might be a very Doctor Who style image with the skull and the sunflower in the Van Gogh, don't you? I'm enjoying. I didn't know if I was going to enjoy this Doctor Who, but you know, it always happens. Like I don't like the new Doctor when they bring me the new Doctor. And then give me a little bit of time and I'll warm up to him. And it's so nice to know that so many of my fellow creatives out there are also Doctor Who fans. I'm hoping to get another Doctor Who project going again with a bunch of people who are, you know, Doctor Who fanatics. Hope so. Fingers crossed. You never know. Fun stuff. I like to do fun, creative things. I like to keep it fun. I like to keep it goofy. I like to keep it fun and goofy for you. Oh my goodness, bring the energy up. That's so weird. Just needed to wake you up a little bit. Because these go long, don't they? These go long. But you're actually doing quite a lot of painting in a very short time. And this is why I just don't do time lapses for what we do. for what we're doing. That's why I'm just in general. It's not that I don't have any speed paints on my channel. I do. But I'm not teaching those paintings. And that isn't how I would teach those paintings. That is not how that would go down. So I've got all this in. And you know what I get to do? I get to get out my nice, tidy little bright. I'm going to spray a little bit of water on my black because I know it's thickened up. I'm going to pull some of the soft body paint out. And I'm going to start putting in the sugar skull designs. The first thing that I'm going to do is create what I like to think of as my coloring page. Right? It's my coloring page. And my coloring page, sure I have certain rules, so I put in that half circle, and then I'm going to do my little petals around the eyes. Petals around there. So you could do this with a small detail brush. Might make a smaller little petal there. Now I know where that is. I can put out my sunflower petals on my skull, which are just these little triangle shapes. Can you see those okay? This is great. This is like we are making ourselves an adult coloring page on a canvas. This is really what we're doing here when we're doing these sort of sugar skull designs or anything that we do that's highly decorative that requires a black line and then a color field inside of it. That's just really our own adult coloring page. You can be as neat and tidy with these lines as you see fit. It's your canvas. For the purposes of me showing you how to get this in, I might move along a little quickly for myself. Maybe a little more than I would do. I'm going to definitely fix this little part right there. Clean that up. That little white where I didn't want some. I'm going to add the shapes for the green leaves that I know I want here. Okay, that's what I'm going to add. Now for the dots that I'm going to be doing on here, I will definitely be choosing a different brush. But this is just for the big work that I'm putting in. Right? If I do too little of a brush, you might not get the designs. Might just take me too long. Really what it is. Oh my goodness, I'm never going to get out of here. And I want you guys to have a lot of time with your friends. I also want you to get a good painting out of this too. We've got that little design in. That's a pretty nice design. Come down here. We're not going to do the teeth with this brush. We're not. We're not going to do the teeth with this brush. And this is just a little bump, and a bigger bump, and then another little bump. Another little bump. And I might, I've got this little drop here. Can we see this? Yeah, we've got the chin. Okay. Just making sure we can see it. Okay. And then I'm going to want to do a little drop this way. So fun to do. And then a small little drop this way. And I'm going to come on the outside edge of my skull, around the whole thing, and do a nice thick 1/4 inch outline. Super easy, super fun. Let me kind of tip up and show you. So I'm just coming along here around the outside edge, and I'm just creating this nice crisp line, this graphic line, creating a graphic space and flattening out the image. When we outline objects, we create cartoons, and we do, by the very nature of outlining them, flatten the image. Flatten the image. Okay, and I might come back with some white to separate up those two spaces because I don't like them being so close together. Just to let you know what I'm thinking right now. Let it dry a little bit, but that's what I'm thinking I might do. The other place that I can put this is I can create a nice thick black line on my sunflower coming out here. Separating up the petals, so just keep putting that in. So I've got that line in on my sunflower. And I'm going to come up and outline my petals. Now you don't have to do this step. Maybe you don't want to outline your petals. But I very much do because I feel like that ties the whole painting together. Can you see the outline of these petals happening? Hopefully you can. Uh-oh. So that's our life. John's gonna go help Luna read her fortune. Very important stuff. I don't know if that's important in your house, but in my house, if one gets a fortune cookie, all the kids need to know the words. Now, Honey's old enough to do the words and is actually kind of evil to her siblings because she won't necessarily read them the fortune they got. She reads them the fortune she believes that they deserve, which is always sort of entertaining. The older sibling kind of lays down what she thinks the littler ones deserve. But Luna and Spider, they love getting the fortunes. And even though my son is very scientific, you know, and is dubious on many things, such as the tooth fairy, he really takes his fortune cookie quite seriously. I mean, events are happening. So, I'm sort of enjoying this. I'm enjoying outlining this. We don't have too much black lining to do after this. I'm definitely going to make this. So there'll be petals that feel like they take a front stage and then petals that feel like they're taking a back stage. And you've got to sort of find that, the layering of what you feel the petals are doing, and you kind of create that. And we're all going to have something a little different in our petal outline. Things that might happen to you. You might freak out about your petal outline because you could get it into your head that this was a super important part of the painting, that all other elements in the painting hinge, but it's not. It's just a part. Paintings are elements coming together compositionally. So this is not, you know, make or break the painting moment. And you can see I'm not like that crazy. You could be very, very careful about how you outline. You could go back in for hours and paint these petals in so neatly, and you know what? That would be totally okay. If it's not bothering you to do it, if you are relaxed about it, if you are enjoying it, then it is the right thing to do. Okay? Don't go against the nature of who you are just to do an art lesson. That would be crazy. You've got to find yourself in the art. And sometimes that means you're a more, relaxed person and you're not worried about little details. And sometimes it means, you know what? You are very worried about the details and it matters to you a lot. I'm going to do some sort of cartooning little lines here of this black in the base of the petals. Right? You might, in a much more neat or considered sense, see this in some tattoos or something. You're just adding these here so that it sort of feels tied into your sugar skull. See, so we've got those in. I'm going to put this brush in. And now I'm going to find a detail brush, or detail round. And that just means a brush with a small bristle set that could come to a point, right? And I'm gonna get some more black out. I might add, you know, more mist to my palette. Because again, we're under a lot of lights here. I'm sort of surprised that my face hasn't cracked under the pressure of these lights. Okay, let me make sure the detail. I'm just doing some dots. Dots are fun to me. They may not be fun to you, but I like them. I like leaving them places. I like putting them decoratively along my piece. Now I'm just loading up the brush and leaving some dots. And since my canvas is mostly dry, I can create a bridge with my hand. You know, and you can do very, very neat, specific dots. And dip right into your paint. And get some very, very neat, tidy little dots going. Right? Let's see where else we might have some dots. We'll have some dots. I like to do sometimes work dots smaller and get subsequently bigger. So I might have to paint them in a little more. To get some more paint. Make them in a little bigger. So you just play with your dots. I might do some curlicues here. Right, that's sort of fun. And then I might also enjoy putting some daisies in. Oh, daisy designs. You could have roses. You could have roses. But I like the little daisies. They're not like little perfect daisies, but you could make little perfect daisies. And that would also be okay. Right? And then maybe I might do some little, I might do like a little El Tigre kind of dot mustache. I don't know if you guys ever watched El Tigre. El Tigre! Really loved that cartoon. Thought it was really good. Starred Manny. It was just positive and beautiful, and it was about family, and I just thought it was great. My eldest was really into it. So that's how I know about it. Of course, everything is about Peridot right now on Steven Universe. Oh, the crystal gems. So I'm going to make a little nice S shape here. Sort of elongated S shape. Decoratively, I like that. You might need to come and get some more water to get good coverage. Now I'll make a couple lines here. And then I feel like I'd like another little daisy. Like you do, little daisy. Maybe that daisy will have some leaves. That can happen. So you can kind of really do what you want on these sugar skulls. You can put things that are meaningful to you. Really anything that's meaningful to you can go into them. And they're going to come out really, really, really well. So I'm going to do a tooth and a bottom tooth. Tooth and a bottom tooth. These are going to get smaller as I go. And they're going to be kind of like little pill shapes. And then I'm going to come along and I'm going to make some little dashes like train tracks along the teeth. And then along the mouth. Just like it, gonna do it. See that happening there? And then maybe a couple little dots going up here. And the dots. fun stuff. Guess what you get to do now? You get to start painting some things in. I'm gonna get my 1/2-inch brush out because for the bigger stuff, I feel like that gives me a lot of control, and I'm gonna get a little of my brown. I might add a little red to it. So it's a brown red. Make sure I've got some moisture, and I'm gonna paint in this top part. Let me move this up better up here. Just this top part. It's not gonna be like the seed down here. This is the face paint, right? It's gonna look different. Going to look different. Just paint that in neatly. Or not neatly. It's really up to you. However you want to paint it in, you paint it in. However you want to paint it in, paint it in. I'm going to rinse my brush out, and I'm thinking when I get into these petals, what I'm going to want is a really good bright. So I'm going to pull out a 1/2-inch bright. Now I'm going to pull out this 1/2-inch bright because I feel like it's tighter. You could just stick with the angle brush, that's also okay. I'm going to get a little of my just yellow, which again has gone a little globby on me simply because I'm under lights, but your paint should still be okay. Always use slow dry if you want to slow down the drying time of your paint. There's all kinds of additives and things. There's also a line of paints called Golden Opens. I haven't painted with them. And Artist Interactive, also I have not painted with them. But they're supposedly have the very long drying times. I like to go to the Golden Lectures and see what they have to say about their product. They charge a lot for it, so I want to know. Why? What's going on? So just painting that in, right? That's just going in. I think you can kind of see where this is going. I mean, we're going to hang out together all the way to the end. But I think that most of you, if this is your first time, you're definitely going to want to hang out with me. If you've been here a while, you might be like, oh, I've got this, Sherpa. I've got this. I'm going to get my little detail brush out while I'm thinking about my yellow. I'm going to grab some just yellow on it. And I'm going to make sure I paint in the center of my little daisies yellow. Right? And some yellow in the center of my daisies. That makes me happy. Little yellow daisies. Like you do. See, it's already starting to get cheerful, right? Now, I'm going to take my good bright. Where did I just put my good bright? There it is. I don't have to worry about rinsing it out too well because I'm going to make green and there's already yellow on the brush. So yellow and blue make green. Mostly. And then I'm going to paint these in green. Paint in all the green on my skull, which is going to be these leaves, and these little leaves. Simple, simple stuff. It's not a complicated color pattern that we've got going here. We kept it simple. And that is, I think, some of the graphic. I hope that's some of the graphic appeal. I hope you guys are not catatonic already. Estimating the length of this, we don't really know. Paint this in. If this brush is too big, switch to a smaller brush. Now, I'm pretty comfortable with it, so it doesn't bother me. But if it's bothering you, or giving you any grief, you know, you've got some smaller brushes. You should definitely grab one. I mean, for the little leaves down here that I'm going to want green, I might go Maverick and paint this big bright, but I might use a detail. You might want to use a detail. I'm going to be like, woo, living on the edge. Painting them like that. Living on the edge. I mean, this is just really coming in, right? This is exciting. So, I gotta ask my co-captain what's going on here because I see a weird red thing in my corner. I see a very concerning red event in my corner of my camera. I'm gonna call him to come look at that.
That?
Mm-hmm.
You're just now seeing this?
Just now.
It's been up there the entire time. It says, your door is open. And that there's
wow.
memory card inside.
I mean, like, I'm just trying to be helpful and
no, it's
cool,
good.
and he's giving me grief, but I didn't see. I'm like, I'm just telling him about a red dot. Just saying. See how much trouble he is when he's quiet? If he's quiet, he's being a problem. You can count on it. He's like, oh, I'm not even showing it out. You don't even ever get to know that I'm a problem. See, that's how he is. So I'm going to pull some red. Just some red. And I'm going to come on the inside of my petals up here. And I'm going to pull some red. Now, just some red. Give it a little red. Just, that's kind of fun. I like that. Pulls it all together. Rinse this out. We're really actually nearly done. There's only a couple things we have left to do. Get your detail out. Paint all your flowers blue. I'm going to use a little blue and white to get a bright blue. You could paint them purple if purple was your favorite color. You could just paint them whatever your favorite color was. I like the blue because, well, that kind of ties into the sky. So I think that when you're telling a color story in a painting, it's nice to pull in. This is something I do on a very complicated level to a very simple level. I like to pull in the colors to other areas to create a continuity. Create a continuity. That's what I like to do. So this is what we're doing. We're painting in the flowers a color that we like. What color do you like? Are you guys liking this painting? Let me know in the comments. Share with me on Instagram. Share with me on Twitter, the 5 of you that are still watching. Actually, it's way more. So many of you hanging through the entire painting. And it's just amazing. And we have such gratitude for you guys. Really appreciating the content. And that makes it so fun for us to make more lessons. And to make more fun stuff for you to paint. And we kind of know when we hit it, we kind of know when we fail by how it gets viewed. We're just kind of like, well, that was a success because everybody's watching it and they're liking it and they're commenting. And then we kind of know when you guys are like, I'm really feeling it. Because you guys aren't really commenting on it. And we definitely understand that there are times when you just don't feel it. I see a leaf there that I didn't paint. And I can go right now and get some green. Be like, aha, I paint you in. So now I have a little black line to do here and dots and a little dry brushing and I'm through. That's how close we are to being through. What could you do after this? You could go, if you haven't painted Van Gogh Starry Night with or without the TARDIS, you could go do that. You could go paint the original Van Gogh Sunflowers. There's lots that you could do. I'm going to get a bright. I'm going to get the paint the water completely out of it. And I'm going to get just a little blue and white. Little blue and white. Not making a sky blue, but I want the brush to be fairly dry. Because I'm going to come here and create a little shadow with this blue. Again, tying in the sky. And come along this little edge here. Dry brushing. I want it to skip over the canvas. See if we can really zoom in and see that. See how that just skips over the canvas right there and is not getting into the tooth, which is going to be funny in a second because we're about to do the teeth. I'll show you the teeth. Is this important? I just don't bug you guys with stuff that doesn't matter to the finished product. Having the teeth with this little blue is one of the things that makes it look like an enjoyable sugar skull. It is. It's what makes it fun. And at the end of the day, what you're painting needs to be fun. What you're crafting needs to be fun. Your creative process is sacred, sacred space. So just dry brush that around. Dry brush the chin around. just dry brushing that around. That gives a very nice little effect to the skull. We're going to zoom back out a little. Whoa, it's the wrong direction. I love going the wrong way. Okay, I think I'm adjusted. And I'm going to just also add this blue along this outer edge here just a little bit. And I was thinking I might separate these up, but I've decided it's not really a big deal for me for the end result, for them to be touching. It's okay. I'm going to just get my detail brush again, come up here to the top. I'm going to add some detail lines to the leaves you might have. And then I'm going to do something that's going to blow your mind. Well, no, not yet. I still want a curlicue. I see a spot where I want some curlicues. That's really not probably going to blow your mind. Probably like, oh yeah, I needed that. Sometimes I like to just add these. Just a little bit of fun. Alright, get in there. There we go. Some detail. Watch this. We're gonna flip our sugar skull. Why? Because I want the space that I'm working to be close to my hand, so my hand isn't getting tired. Okay, I'm gonna come down here, and I'm gonna try to work this in as fast as I can. So I'm not using up your whole day, but with enough information that you're not having any trouble getting it done. And this is where the fluid paints, craft paints, come in so handy. A couple ways you can do this. You can dip the back of your brush into a fluid paint and go dab, 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 dab to get a really great, did you guys see that? A really great dot pattern that's really even. And sometimes the bristles of a brush won't give that to you. And that is my daughter playing with our dog. So you get the noise and joy of laughter. Because I think that the cartoon must not be holding her anymore. She's got supervision, don't worry. You know, we just don't want them to have to be too quiet when we're filming because, you know, kids gotta still... She lives here and plays here. And part of that is imaginative play. Are you guys liking the dot pattern that you can do with this? Look how easy that is to do with the back of the brush. Now you could do the tip of the brush. Sometimes you might need to wipe it off. Now let's come along the outside of that leaf and add a dot. If it didn't give you enough paint, you can really easily go back. Really easily. Go back. And we're going to do the inside first. And actually the first thing I want to do with the inside is I want to paint the iris. So I'm going to grab, again, my good 1/2 inch. And I might get my thicker titanium white paint. I'm going to just paint in this white dot. Alright, once that's in, back to my heel. Back to my heel, letting that dry a little bit. I'll come and do the dots right here inside these spaces. Right here. And then I'm going to create little flower petals around. Wow, I bet we're really hearing Luna. Alright, coming around there. Alright, coming around here. There we go. kind of get the sense of what we're doing. We're making this sort of like little implied flower petal with dots. Right? That would be her dad surprising her. She likes that quite a lot, actually. She's always like, again! Mom is not like that. Kids all know I don't really like surprises very much. There we go. Just drawing in. Created an implied line, drawing in my dots. You can dot each of the green leaves is a great place to dot. Or flirts or whatever we have right here. And then you can also run a line of dots around the eye. I find I've got to replace my paint about every third dot if I want a certain size diameter dot. And I'm moving. If you're very careful, you can even really get control over the size of your dot and make sure that the dots are all the exact same size or very close together, or however you want to manage your dot space. It'll still work out for you. There we go. Now we're going to turn like this. Fun stuff. I am going to follow the inside line of my nose. There we go. And I'm also going to follow the outside line of my scallop. Fun stuff. Well, maybe you're like, oh my goodness, there's so many dots. This is not fun, lady. Let's redefine fun. Fun for me. Maybe not fun for you. I got the dots a little in that space. I might smooth them out with my brush a little bit, like you do. Now, I pulled out the bristles of my brush so that I can do a white flower that's similar to my daisies in the center here. That's kind of fun for me. And I have, alright, that is exactly what we need to see so you can see the rest of the dots on that close-up camera. So of course, you might have guessed that we will be dotting these. See how the sugar skull comes together. And the last thing, the last row of dots, is along our sunflower. That's it, guys. That's the last thing that we've got to do on our Van Gogh Starry Night sunflower sugar skull. And it's kind of fun to paint with the back of the brush. Sometimes we don't think about our whole instrument, right? Sometimes we don't think about everything that we have on there, but we've got wishes. Certainly wish for you candy. I wish you guys good luck in the contest. I hope you win something. I have absolutely no influence over it. If when you turn it up, you're not totally happy with like a part of the design, you can get right back in there and, you know, maybe strengthen it up. And that's not hard to do. However you want to do it, it will work. Just keep doing it and you will be fine. I think we've got that there. Ooh, we did it. We did it. We painted the painting. Did you finish? Did you finish? I hope you finished. I hope you finished. It was really great spending the day with you. I really appreciate your time. I really appreciate your heart. I appreciate the shares and the comments. John does too. It's just meaningful to us. We will be back on and off, up live, and then we'll have some pre-recordeds like this. I really hope you like this project. I hope you're getting really good results for it. I hope the makeup didn't scare you. And I want to see you this easel really soon. All right, bye-bye.